They've booked their spot in the FIFA Men's World Cup final. They'll be facing Spain. We'll tell you more a bit later on.
It's like putting salt in a wound. That is what they're doing to Dwayne Anderson right now, because he was so convinced that England and the cup was coming home. Anyway, there's also sports commentary and Ephraim in this newscast.
Sports commentary in this newscast.
Yes.
But before the break, the feedback question.
And this evening, we are asking, what are your thoughts? I can't wait to hear Dwayne's on the semi-final match between England and Argentina.
You can share comments online at facebook.com/television Jamaica and post on X at TVJ News Center.
Hi. How are you?
Have you ever watched that movie?
We don't have time for that.
Give me 10 seconds. you ever watch that movie with Thanos? Messi is inevitable. That's what I have to say.
Please stay with us. The Primetime News Package returns after this break.
Win with KFC, big league, join the league. Win a trip to Brazil, all you mean? Big deal, meal deal, big match. Just buy KFC and win that. From now until July 20th, 2026, buy a big deal or meal deal for a chance to win a trip for two to Brazil. Courtesy of KFC, plus $500,000 cash from Best Dressed Chicken. 11 weekly winners score free KFC for a year. 65-inch TVs, smartphones, and more. Just WhatsApp your receipt to 876-784-7811 to enter and win big in the KFC Big League. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting Gaming and Lotteries.
Before the first patty is made, there are hands that raise it, hands that grow it, hands that move it, hands that bake it, and hands that serve it. For Jamaica, by Jamaica. Through challenges and changing seasons, they stood strong. They built with us. They believed. To every farmer, every team member, every partner, thank you.
The Gleaner wants you to unfold our pages in a new way. Download the eGleaner app for quick and convenient access to daily exclusive news at your fingertips. Get it now in the App Store or the Google Play Store. Search eGleaner, click download, then sign in.
Welcome back to Primetime News.
And a special welcome once again to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com.
First up, the implementation for the demerit point system has been pushed back.
Speaking at this morning's post-cabinet press briefing, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz revealed that more time is needed for a comprehensive traffic management system.
Jamila Maitland explains.
From a grand announcement to the possibility of a missed deadline, Minister of Transport Darrell Vaz says the work to implement the demerit point system has started. However, following a multi-stakeholder consultation, it could mean that the October 1 start date may be delayed.
This stakeholder group that is going to navigate now to come up with a practical solution. So what we have is something that it's almost impossible, if not impossible, to do what needs to be done in the time that it needs to be done with the resources that are available.
Minister Vaz, who was speaking at post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday, says the number of outstanding traffic tickets, volume of paperwork, and lack of digitization of court records, coupled with the current traffic tickets, have become major challenges in the traffic management system.
If we were to have a dedicated location for court every day, similar to what we did at the arena, even that, I can't put a timeline
Now, according to the police, enforcement activities have also increased. There have been more speeding tickets issued, more breathalyzer tests done, and more warrants executed for the first half of 2026 compared to the similar period last year. The issue, they say, lies with compliance.
The Court Administration Division says between January 1, 2018 and January 1, 2026, there are 1.2 million outstanding traffic tickets valued at 4.5 billion Jamaican dollars. Data from the police reveal that for the first 6 months of 2026, 438,711 traffic tickets have been issued. Minister Vaz reasoned that even if government grants an amnesty, it still wouldn't solve the issue of compliance.
It's a mindset that needs to change, because the fact of the matter is that the demerit system, point system, is something that is implemented specifically to do exactly what you just said, to give people confidence that they are on safe roads and that if they misuse the roads, that there's penalties and sanctions.
The demerit point system is like a report card for motorists. Every time a motorist receives a traffic ticket, they not only pay a fine, but they could lose privilege. They rack up points where applicable. However, these points have no loyalty. If a motorist gets between 10 and 13 points, they're required to complete defensive driving or speeding danger trading. Receive 14 to 19 points, you can be subjected to retesting and driver disqualification. Accumulating 20 or more points result in an immediate and strict license suspension by a judge. Points remain on your record but expire after 15 months if the motorist's license is not suspended.
It cannot be that what obtains on the roads today go without any sanctions. And those sanctions must include demerit points that take persons off of roads to allow for safer roads for those who use our roads.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
And the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, is calling for an immediate and detailed review of the Road Traffic and Transport Authority Act. President of TODS, Edgerton Newman, argues that the legislation in its current form is ineffective.
I want you to understand that the transport sector is operating from two acts. It is unfortunate. And what we are doing, we are sending thousands of our workers on the ground because of the operations of these two acts. If government believes in the public transport sector, and I think this minister believes in the public transport sector, but if they truly believe, they have to have an immediate review of the act.
The government is defending the appointment of Danville Walker as a managing director of Petrojam. Mr. Walker's appointment took effect on July 1. Now, before his appointment, Mr. Walker resigned as senior vice president at West Indies Petroleum following concerns about conflict of interest. Opposition spokesman on energy, Philip Paulwell, raised the matter in Parliament on Tuesday.
Potential conflicts have been resolved in relation to your new managing director.
The MD of Petrojam, that's an administrative procedure. That has nothing to do with the minister or the ministry. And in my usual style, everything that is done according to the letter of the process. And I make sure that I impress that, because I know that at some point, questions like what you just asked are going to come up. And you have somebody who is competent, who has gone through a process, who has a proven track record, including an order of Jamaica, yes, who is patriotic and who is up to the challenge of what we just spoke about in terms of getting better oil prices for Jamaica so that we can bring the price of oil down right across the board. Thank you.
Public schools will receive an additional $755 million, which will go towards repairs and student welfare. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon made the announcement at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing. Kelisha Williams has that story.
The announcement by Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing.
We have increased the funding to all public schools this year. And that's a very, very big deal for us. It meant moving our own budget to prioritize this area. And this should be noted for all of Jamaica. On average, every public school is getting 55% more funding from the Ministry of Education.
She explained that the additional allocation will amount to $755 million, and primary schools and special needs institutions will be prioritized. The first tranche has already been distributed, with the other two payments to be made in September and December, respectively. While there is flexibility in how the funds can be used, 25% of the money should go towards administration, repair and maintenance 20%, teaching and learning materials 30%, STEAM and TVET 15%, and student welfare 10%.
I saw one school that would get $800,000 per year because it's a small school, moved to $3 million. So it's significant increases, especially at the base, but it differs depending on the school, the number of students that are there.
This allocation comes at a time when many parents have been complaining about the spike in fees at public schools. For instance, this story featured in The Star on July 2nd. In this case, the fee was $67,000, $43,000 for the tuition, plus $24,000 for summer school.
In relation to school fees, the government's policy is very clear. No child should be excluded from school if they are not able to pay the fees. That is very clear from the Ministry of Education. That's the government's policy. Some schools do charge fees, but they have no right to deny any child access to an education.
She said she expects schools to use the recent allocation to assist students who are not able to afford it. But there are also additional welfare grants that schools can request to offset the burden.
You can come to the ministry. We have had schools that have said, 90% of my students are on PATH. I need a little bit more support on nutrition. And the ministry works and tries to give that support. So we have a system where there are grants for schools, but we understand the dynamic of what we're working in and that there may be other realities at play. And so we urge our principals to reach out to the regional teams.
Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
Still to come this evening, lawyers to make another attempt for bail for embattled SSL wealth advisor Jean Panton. And in business news, Jamaicans paying more for food and other supplies. We'll be right back.
For the moments that are best enjoyed with your hands, enjoy a KFC Big Deal or Big Bucket. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
An essential tip for proper meat storage. Brought to you by
top quality meat, frozen veg, seafood and processed meats at affordable prices.
Nation's Choice, always your best value. Separate meat. Keep meat on a tray or in a sealed container to prevent juices from dripping onto other foods. That was an essential tip for proper meat storage. Brought to you by
top quality meat, frozen veg, seafood and processed meats at affordable prices.
Nation's Choice, always your best value.
Courts presents their 2026 All Range event. Be inspired at all Court stores nationwide. Come see what's new in everyday furniture and appliances. Up to $43,000 off major appliances. Up to 30% off furniture. Smart TVs starting at just $24,999. Be inspired at the Courts 2026 All Range event. Affordable convenience for your home. Only at Courts. Bringing value home. Offer ends July 31st, 2026. Conditions apply.
Could I afford the mortgage? At my age, how long would the bank give me to repay?
Sometimes the answers you're looking for are right in front of you. With a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage,
Mom, what?
You can join forces with any family member to own your home easier. Create more with a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage.
Sagicor Bank, supporting businesses to help them create the recipe for success. The time by Sagicor Bank is...
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Another attempt will be made to secure bail for former Stocks and Securities Limited SSL Wealth Advisor Jean Ann Panton. Attorney Sylvester Hemmings indicated his intention during a case management hearing in the Supreme Court this morning. Raquel Porter has the details.
Justice Simone Wolf-Rees, however, directed the renewed bail application to be made in writing. She ordered the defense to file its submissions by the end of September, with the Crown to respond by the end of October. Ms. Panton was denied bail in February 2023 by Justice Lorna Shelley Williams, who cited the seriousness of the offenses. In April 2023, her attorney filed an affidavit in support of a renewed bail application in which Ms. Panton claimed she had suffered a stroke and at least 2 seizures while in custody. The application was refused by Justice Vinette Graham Allen after the medical officer who examined her reported that he found nothing to indicate that she had suffered a stroke while in custody. A February 1 trial date has now been set for Ms. Panton after the original May trial date was vacated. A trial readiness hearing has also been scheduled for December 10. Ms. Panton has been in custody since February 2023. During the hearing, Mr. Hemmings raised concerns about conditions at the Women's Correctional Facility where his client is being held. He said prison authorities had suspended the practice of allowing relatives to bring food for inmates. Mr. Hemmings argued that the development has adversely affected Ms. Panton, who, he said, suffers from a deteriorating medical condition that requires a special diet previously supplied by her family. According to him, he would not give his cats what he saw her eating when he visited her. Justice Simone Wolf-Rees asked whether he had engaged the prison authorities to determine the reason for the policy and whether any accommodation could be made for his client. Mr. Hemmings said he had not yet done so. She's facing a 22-count indictment charging her with forgery, larceny as a servant, and engaging in a transaction involving criminal property. Jamaican sprint legend Usain Bolt is among several clients reported significant losses from their investment accounts. An account held in the name Wellgen Limited, a company owned by Mr. Bolt, reportedly declined from approximately $2 billion in October 2022 to about $1.8 million by the time the fraud was uncovered. Raquel Porter, reporting for TVJ News.
From the hillsides to the boardrooms, we examine the legal ganja industry. Here's Yannick Williams with part 2 of Ganja Gold.
Data from industry regulators show that only a small percentage of licenses are held by traditional cultivators, raising concerns about equity and access. And as the industry expands, so too does the divide between those who grow the crop and those who profit from it 10 years later after being decriminalized. With legalization came structure, and with structure came opportunity for investment. But entering the legal market requires significant capital, millions of dollars in some cases, putting it out of reach for many traditional farmers.
The licensing process is accessible to everyone. Traditional farmers are defined as those persons who would have been growing ganja before it became decriminalized. So the licensing process is pretty much available to anyone who is willing to go through the application process.
The CLA, established in 2015 under the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, regulates Jamaica's legal cannabis. Amendments to the dangerous drug regulations will introduce delivery service, standardized license period, and short-term permits for events, among others. Since 2025, 196 licenses had been issued by the CLA, but concerns remain about who controls them. Critics argue that access to these licenses is not easy for everyone.
It is a process to acquire a license. There's some due diligence that has to be done. There's some verification of the supporting documents that will be submitted. There is a submission of police record, proof of identification, and so on.
In the meantime, some experts disagree with the requirement that traditional farmers must obtain license.
So you ask yourself, when we learn economics, what do we learn in economics about what is called an infant industry? When you have an infant industry, what you do is to create incentives to grow the industry. And when the industry is at a certain size, then you start to transition from an infant into adult, which means you start to face some of the standard regulations for regular businesses, including things like fees, taxes, etc.
Between 2019 and 2020 alone, trade between licensed operators was valued at over US 1.3 million, more than 200 million Jamaican dollars, and that figure excludes retail sales. And as more licenses are issued, that value continues to grow, signaling an industry with significant economic potential. But entry comes at a cost.
Some people may view the cost as being prohibitive, but what the agency has done through our minister, Senator the Honorable Albin Hill, he has given us a mandate to facilitate business. And with that mandate, the board of directors had approved a deferment policy. We are able to seek through the board an approval to give them a payment plan.
As for small traditional cultivators within the industry,
we recently launched some changes to our regulations that would allow for more inclusion. There is the special cultivator transitional permit, and that allows for the small-scale person, someone who can't afford the fees up front, to be able to come in and to matriculate into the license regime over 2 years. There's also a community permit that we have now included in our regulations, and that allows for a grouping of persons to be able to come together and to grow as much as 10 acres of ganja together.
But many farmers still feel excluded from the industry.
From a once underground trade to now a tightly regulated industry, ganja in Jamaica is now big business, generating millions of dollars in the legal market. But as investment grows, so does concerns that ownership is being concentrated among those with capital.
In part 3, we look at who owns the industry and what can be done to ensure inclusion. Yannick Williams, TVJ News.
Now, the State Minister in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Delano Seavright, says because the Cannabis Licensing Authority recognizes the enormous medicinal, scientific and economic potential of ganja, it has made it easier for the ordinary man to obtain permits for the cannabis trade. The minister was speaking this morning at the dedication ceremony of the offices of the Cannabis Licensing Authority on Haining Road.
So recent reforms, including the introduction of the special community permits and the transitional special permits, are also expanding lawful opportunities for traditional cultivators and communities whilst maintaining strong regulatory oversight. Now, behind every legitimate
And President of the Ganja Growers Association, Maurice Ellis, says some of the changes made are things they've been advocating for over the last 10 years.
Advocated for an amnesty, we've advocated for alternative development program in order to allow farmers to regularize themselves. Today, we see where the government has answered the clarion call and started to address the situation.
Mandeville's Mayor Donovan Mitchell says the Manchester Municipal Corporation will not be granting approval for night events at 2 locations in the parish capital. He says the decision follows complaints from residents about noise nuisance caused by parties along Perth and Villa Roads near the Mandeville Town Centre. Krista Campbell has our report.
Noisy and unsanitary. The reasons behind this decision on entertainment events in Mandeville, Manchester.
And it's the right to the accounts department not to accept any funds from persons having events at those locations, which would mean, therefore, that we have not given an approval.
At this month's Manchester Municipal Corporation meeting, Mandeville Mayor Donovan Mitchell explained there have been repeated complaints about parties in the parish capital.
The place beside near to the bus restaurant on Perth Road, one across here at the gas station, the noise pollution is our great operator's problem. And when the calls come, the first thing they said, you are the mayor. If you can't talk to the police or if you can't say anything, then how can we talk?
Sharing his own personal experience, he noted that the matter has also become cause for concern in emergency situations.
Nearly a month ago, I was coming on Villa Road and I couldn't come up. The entire place was blocked off. There's a party going on right there. And the other thing is that we ask for certain things when persons are having events. There's no public sanitation there. There's no parking along that main road that way. And when people block up, people park from there all the way on both sides. I've seen vehicles on both sides on Argyles Avenue in the thing there. And it creates a problem because people have to come to the major hospitals.
Added to that are health and sanitary concerns.
When people drink and whatever, they just stand up anywhere and they urinate on the people's wall and the business people are calling. So I am asking the police to look into the situation. I'm not asking us to stop people from having their social events, but something has to be done. Doctors have been calling me. They come home from work in the night and they can't sleep because the noise is so loud in their ears, especially in and around the people live in Bloomfield Street, Bloomfield Circle. I mean, when they listen to the noise, it's terrible. They can't sleep and they have to go back to work in the morning.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
The Caribbean region is prone to natural disasters. Jamaica and Haiti, among others, have had to deal with the impacts of such in recent years. Now, there is a close watch on the Mount Pierre volcano in Martinique. Romardo Lyons is in Martinique and now reports.
Home with a hazard in the backyard. The threat, a volcano with a last eruption in 1902, described as the worst volcanic disaster of the 20th century. It's the reality in St. Pierre, Martinique. I'm standing with Fabrice at a castle in the town. On the horizon, the Mount Pierre volcano remains active and is still a talking point 124 years later.
Everything has been organized to evacuate quickly if needed, because today that volcano is still active. There's some people are focusing on that volcano. Yeah.
So like government focuses on it as well?
Yeah, and everything has been organized to evacuate quickly if needed.
The 1902 eruption destroyed the town of St. Pierre, killing approximately 30,000 people in a matter of minutes. Now, a few volcano-tectonic earthquakes occur on Martinique every year, and the volcano is under continuous watch. So, if there are ever directives to evacuate, there will be no hesitation.
I think last time when it happened to St. Pierre, it was only in a small angle. It was not the full range of Saint-Pierre, so it was just one angle. So probably the government already told us to move as far as we could to leave Saint-Pierre, because, for example, the city just before, Carbet, was safe.
This museum was built in 1933 to commemorate the 1902 catastrophe. Inside, the walls are lined with the names of 7,000 victims. Also, relics from the tragedy have been transformed into art, a reminder for the people. This is the tour guide.
For me, it's very normal as knowing that a hurricane could happen every year. Every single year, we have a season where a hurricane could happen. So I have the same relationship with the volcano, is that we know it's here.
But while many would stay clear, some are pulled to it. Another Martinican, Veronica Costa, points to food production.
The land around the volcano is the most fertile land, so most of our agricultures are living in this place. And I think today the population is pretty safe.
Even our rum tastes different from the rest of the island. So we're quite happy with what that volcano is giving us. So even it's scary in a way, but we enjoy also all the things around the volcano.
Yeah, when you say it gives you the rum, what do you mean?
I mean, the soil is, the richness of the soil is different. The minerality you get into the rum from that soil, it's different from the rest of the island.
The La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent erupted explosively in April 2021, causing widespread ashfall and the evacuation of more than 20,000 people. The government has increased monitoring. But it's not just an issue for St. Vincent.
I think we are almost scared is when the volcano happened, it's mostly what happened with the sea. You know, the big waves can come up easily, the tsunami. So we're more focusing on that part as well when it's happened somewhere else.
Romarda Lyons, TVJ News.
Coming up in this newscast, over 800 wildfires burning across Canada. We'll be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Understanding weight loss, healthy habits matter. That's the message from one local medical expert who says lasting weight loss begins with healthy lifestyle choices. Shamala Pullen tells us more in this evening's Health Report.
The Health Report is brought to you by
Tetley Super Teas, packed with vitamins and chamomile to calm you down.
Weight loss isn't always a sign of success. While losing weight through healthy eating and exercise can be beneficial, unexplained or rapid weight loss may point to an underlying condition such as diabetes. Doctors also warn that significant weight loss from illness or medications can lead to loose or sagging skin.
Friends tell them they look dry. That's a common phrase. Or they have the flabby arms, or their cheeks are looking gaunt, or their necks, you're seeing what they call the neck string. And for those who may want to get in a little more deeply, the breasts are beginning to sag. The tummy also, the skin is overlapping, and the lower end of the tummy as well.
As a result, some may seek medical help to restore their appearance and address these concerns.
Plastic or cosmetic surgery can be offered, but then one has to be sure that, the weight loss has steadied off, because there's not much point going in to do plastic surgery and they're continuing to lose the weight. So once they have stabilized, the doctor, the specialist, in particular, dermatologist or the plastic surgeon, may very well be able to go in and tighten up.
Experts advise patients, noting that the body may take 6 to 12 months to adjust after significant weight loss. During this time, the skin and body can gradually adapt to the changes.
Watch what you eat and exercise, more regularly. And when I say watching what you eat, it's not a matter of, as a fellow put it, in an amusing way. Yes, Doc, I look at my plate. It is more in terms of the types of foods that you eat, how you eat it, and when you eat it. All those are subject to proper advice given by the dietitian, nutritionist, best given there, and their physical activity.
With your Health Report, I'm Shamela Pullen, wishing you good health. The Health Report is brought to you by
Tetley Super Teas, packed with vitamins and chamomile to calm you down.
Time now for responses to our feedback question, and this evening we are asking, what are your thoughts on the semi-final match between England and Argentina? First comment is from Leon, who says, England took off their goal scorer for a defender. Argentina took off their defender for a goal scorer. Long story short. Thank you, Leon. Cheryl says that a goat outclassed 3 lions. And we have another one from Sinclair, who says, Tuchel park the bus, but Messi always find a spare key, but rather Messi always finds a spare key. Heart of a champion, never say never. Monique says Argentina reached the final because their team dynamic and they have the GOAT, the king. I was hoping to have a stress-free game from them, but every game they played, my blood pressure went up. And here Dwayne would have said they're going home. Again, we're asking, what are your thoughts on the semi-final match between England and Argentina? You can keep those comments coming, facebook.com/television Jamaica, and post on X at TVJ News Center. Now, the business day and news from overseas are after the break, so please stay with us.
Jamaicans continue to feel the pinch of rising prices in June as inflation rose by 0.8%. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says the increase was driven mainly by higher transportation costs following increases in taxi fares. Now, food prices also climbed, with carrots, onions, and sweet peppers among the produce recording increases. Higher electricity charges and household rental rates also contributed to the rise. Meanwhile, Jamaica's point-to-point inflation rate now stands at 6.7%, led by increases in food, transportation, and housing costs. A new chapter in regional connectivity has taken flight. Jamaica welcomed Liat Air's inaugural flight from Guadeloupe to Montego Bay on Thursday. Deidre Thomas tells us more.
The Caribbean is one of the world's most sought-after tourism destinations, but moving within the region remains one of its biggest challenges. Despite being separated by only a few hours apart, many Caribbean islands remain difficult and expensive to reach. That could be changing. Liat's Air inaugural flight from Guadeloupe to Montego Bay carrying 33 passengers marks a new chapter for regional connectivity.
For too long, traveling between our own islands has often been more difficult than traveling to North America. That has limited trade, investment, and even opportunities for Caribbean families to connect with one another. Today, we begin that change. This route does more than connect Montego Bay to Guadeloupe. It opens Jamaica to the French Caribbean and creates a stronger bridge into the wider European market.
The new service is also being positioned as a bridge connecting Caribbean markets, cultures, and businesses. French Caribbean markets are being highlighted as an important gateway into the wider region, creating opportunities for increased visitor movement and stronger commercial ties.
Regional airlift is not a convenience, it's infrastructure. Every route like this one builds two things at once. Opportunity, because markets, festivals, and new trade become one flight away. And resilience, because a Caribbean that is connected to itself is a Caribbean that can withstand whatever the global economy sends our way.
And while the airline is projecting 12,000 passengers in the first year, this figure is not the ceiling.
While we're starting today with just 2 flights a week, our dream and hope is that it will grow. It will grow to daily flights, it will connect more people, and help the economies of both islands grow. So Liat Air is here to work with both islands and all the islands in the region to ensure that there's more connectivity and the economy of the entire Caribbean grows.
Adrian Thomas, TVJ News.
Now to the big one. All categories of fuel will increase come tomorrow. Each litre of 87 gasoline and 90 gasoline will be increased by $3.06. Automotive diesel and ultra-low sulfur diesel will see huge increases, with $12.50 being added to their price. Kerosene will see its price increased by $4.50. The cost of propane will go up by $1.89, while butane will also be increased by $1.89. Now, each petrol station will make these adjustments to their prices, which include a markup on the ex-refinery rate offered by Petrojam. Some stocks news now. The JC index declined by 1,368 points today, while the junior market index advanced by 20 points. The winners were led by Dolphin Cove, Caribbean Cream, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy, Access Financial, and Sagicor Real Estate X Fund. The losers, they were led by Jamaica Public Service 9.5%, Blue Power Group, AMG Packaging and Paper Company, Airplay Caribbean Property Fund, and Medical Disposables and Supplies. 24 stocks traded firm. At the end of foreign exchange trading, banks and cambios were selling the US dollar for an average $158.96. The Canadian dollar is being sold for $112.79. The pound is going for $212.59, while the euro is selling for an average $182.59. And that's the business news from overseas when we return.
The Business Day on Wednesdays, brought to you by with Sagicor Live.
Welcome back. In news overseas, there are more than 100 wildfires burning in Ontario in Canada, with several northwestern communities under threat. Smoke has also blanketed Toronto, which woke up to hazy skies and some of the worst air quality in the world. The wildfires have led to concerns smoke will drift into U.S. cities over the next few days, including in New Jersey, where Sunday's World Cup final is due to take place. Canadian National Rail said in a statement that the workers who were trapped outside Armstrong were all safely rescued and that operations have been temporarily suspended in the region. The statement did not add any further details about how the rescue occurred. There are currently 838 wildfires actively burning across Canada, according to the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre.
And the Primetime News package continues with sports after this break.